Welcome. This is a video on the anime adaptation of Naoki Urasawa's Monster and its use of the song Be My Baby. It's part 3 in a 3-part series on stories about anime songs. This last one is a bizarre coincidence, where a show about a fictional murderer based an episode on a song that made money for a real-life murderer. But most people who saw the show outside of Japan were never aware of the connection because the song was never used outside of the country. Let's check it out. Monster is one of the most critically acclaimed anime of all time. You can watch it on YouTube, but since I'm not 100% sure how legal that is, I will not be providing links in the description this time. It is not legally available for streaming anywhere else in North America, although it is available on Hulu Japan. I just don't know if they have English subtitles or not. The show is a taut psychological thriller that follows a doctor who is twice confronted by a crisis of conscience. Does he continue to save the life of a patient that society deems as unimportant, or does he abandon that patient to save the life of a wealthier person at the urging of his bosses? One of these choices leads to the knowledge that he has saved the life of a murderer, and he takes it upon himself to rectify the damage that his choice has caused. But this murderer will not be brought to justice so easily. In episode 15, titled Be My Baby, the doctor investigates a right-wing terrorist known as the Baby, who plans to burn down the Turkish section of Frankfurt, Germany. Region 1 viewers here in the United States and elsewhere can connect the title to the Baby, of course, and also maybe to Nina's seduction attempts as a prostitute. In Japan, though, the episode's title had a more direct connection, since the soundtrack used the song Be My Baby by the Ronettes. Anyone who was listening to the English dub of the anime instead never heard that song being used because it was replaced with instrumental music instead. The licensing fees for that song would have been way too high. What makes that connection even stranger is that this anime about a fictional murderer used a song that was produced by a man who would be convicted of murder in real life. Phil Spector was a talented promoter and entrepreneur and a brilliant sound producer, known for creating the Wall of Sound in the 1960s. The Wall of Sound was a way to mix audio recordings, primarily rock and roll, so that the music could still give a powerful impression to the listener, even if they were hearing the music through low-quality speakers in radios and jukeboxes of the time. He did this by doubling or tripling up on the same musical phrase played by one instrument, so that if a section was played by a regular piano, he might also have it played by an electric piano and a harpsichord, and then he would mix those three together in post-production. The technique made him wealthy, famous, and sought after as a music producer by big groups like the Beatles, Ike and Tina Turner, and the Ramones. The guy was a pop music prodigy who wrote a hit song that would reach #1 in America 25 days before his 19th birthday. He also promoted musical acts like the Spectors 3 and the Ronettes, and the lead singers of those groups would become his first and second wives. Not at the same time. His influence on 20th century music was undeniable, but there was a dark undercurrent to his story as well. While working with John Lennon in the 1970s, Spector's recording sessions were often characterized by substance abuse and his habit for waving his guns around in the air, sometimes even firing them. The partnership with John Lennon broke down when Spector fired a gun in the same room that Lennon was recording in. The year after they split up, Spector was involved in a serious car crash that threw him through the windshield of his car. He suffered severe head trauma, and his condition was only stabilized after hours of surgery and over 700 stitches to his face and head. Now, some people have pointed to studies that connect head trauma with violent changes in behavior as an explanation of Spector's later actions, but he was already behaving pretty recklessly with guns before the accident, so I don't know. In 2003, Spector killed actress Lana Clarkson by shooting her through the mouth when she was visiting his estate. During his defense, he and his lawyers argued that Clarkson had kissed the gun and committed suicide because she was depressed by her fading career. However, the prosecutors were able to show a pattern by bringing in 4 women who testified that while Spector was pursuing them romantically, he pulled a gun on each one of them to prevent them from leaving. The first jury could not come to a decision, so after a second trial in 2009, Spector was convicted of second-degree murder and sentenced to 19 years to life in the California prison system. He died early in 2021 from complications of COVID-19 at the age of 81. Monster premiered in 2004, 1 year after the death of Lana Clarkson, but I cannot confirm whether the Japanese production staff knew about the story or knew about the connection that Spector had as the producer for Be My Baby when they decided to use that song in episode 15. While I can remember this being a big news story here in the States at the time, I have no idea what kind of impact it made in Japan, and Monster finished airing before Spector's first trial had even started, so who knows. But every time episode 15 of that show aired in Japan, some of that royalty money was being funneled to a man who had already committed a murder. So thanks for watching this series on anime songs. If you want to keep up with what's next on the channel, click the subscribe button. I'll see you next time.